Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you so much for watching This Is Now. I'm Dylan Ancheta alongside our Ashley Nagaoka in the H&N Digital Center. The search continues for a woman off of South Maui who was apparently bit by a shark yesterday while snorkeling with her husband.
That's right. We just got an update from the Coast Guard. Here's some of what they had to say.
Station Maui received reports from Maui County Fire Department of a missing 60-year-old woman who was reported missing due to a reported shark attack off of Ke'akapu beach in Maui, and upon notification, Coast Guard responded with assets on scene and personnel on scene. From Air Station Barbers Point, we have a C-130 out there searching with a helicopter, a 65 helicopter, as well as the Coast Guard cutter Joseph Gerzak and response boats from Station Maui. And Maui County Fire Department are also on scene with their assets as well as ocean safety. And just the husband reported that it was a shark attack. He reported at the time that him and his wife were out snorkeling by that beach, and he encountered the shark, was able to fight it off, and he quickly swam back to shore. And when he got back to shore, he noticed his wife was not beside him and didn't make it back on shore, and that's when he made the report to the authorities, and that's what kicked off the search. Air Station Barbers Point air crew, the 65, was out until about midnight, until the winds got to be too much for the helicopter to handle, and so they had to call it off for the rest of the night. But the searches resumed at first light this morning. We are receiving reports that they have gusts of winds on that south side, about 45 miles per hour. So for now, the plan is to continue searching throughout the day and into the night, but we'll have to keep an eye out on the weather conditions to make sure that our crews and everybody involved are also safe.
Now, the woman's husband told authorities they were about 50 feet from shore when the shark encounter happened. A snorkel set and part of a bathing suit were also found yesterday. Beaches in the area remain closed, and warning signs are still posted as the search continues. Of course, we'll have much more on this story coming up in our later newscasts. Now to an update on that hours-long standoff in Waikiki that ended early this morning with the suspect dead.
Yeah, just moments ago, Honolulu police wrapped up a news conference offering the latest details into their investigation. This is the latest from Police Chief Arthur Joe Logan.
At around 1:45 p.m. yesterday, officers were sent to the Ohio Waikiki Studio Suites on Kuhiwa Avenue, where management had asked for assistance in escorting a male from the property. Officers went to the fifth floor unit, and after knocking on and identifying themselves as police, heard a gunshot from within the unit. Shortly after, officers began clearing the rooms on that floor, and rooms across the street from the suspect's unit were also evacuated. Crisis negotiation and the Specialized Services divisions were requested and responded. Negotiators tried multiple times to establish contact with the suspect, but he refused to respond all their attempts. SSD also deployed a less lethal round into the unit, but the suspect failed to respond to that action. Shortly after midnight, the unit was entered with a robot with the Specialized Services division officers awaiting in the hallway. After repeated orders to exit the unit, the suspect walked into the hallway with his hands in the air and holding a handgun. SSD officers repeatedly ordered the male to stop and put the weapon down. However, the male continued to advance toward the officers and eventually lowered the hand with holding the gun. At that time, two officers fired at the male, striking him twice. He was treated at the scene before being taken to the hospital, where he died. No officers or members of the public were injured. Between the first officer's arrival and midnight, the male fired approximately 8 rounds from within the unit. At least one round hit a police vehicle that was parked on the street below. We were hoping this incident did not result in loss of life. It's not the outcome we wanted, but we are grateful that no one else was hurt.
Our Casey Lund was at the scene earlier this morning and has reaction from witnesses.
A really tragic story, no matter how you look at it, with one man dead after police say he barricaded himself in a 6th-floor unit of the Ohio Waikiki Suites. We want to show you that right now. You can see the broken out window there. This all unfolded around 2 yesterday afternoon. That's when police came here in large numbers to Nohonani Street and Kuhio Avenue. At some point, police made the decision to evacuate several nearby hotels and apartment buildings, including the Kuhio Banyan, as well as the Hawaiian King. I talked to a number of people that live in both of those buildings. They say they were directed to get out of the area. A number of businesses had to close down here as well. Eventually, overnight, police say they were able to make entry into that apartment, and that's where they say they shot that man. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. I talked to the couple living staying, I should say, in the apartment above him here at the Ohio Waikiki Suites, a couple visiting from San Antonio, Texas.
We just came back from lunch and we went upstairs because we knew we were leaving today, so we were just going to have an easy evening. We were on the balcony, had a couple of drinks, and we heard this pop. We knew immediately it was a gunshot. You know, it was super, super loud. So we looked over the balcony thinking it was down here on the corner, but it wasn't, not knowing it was directly below our room. And, you know, he was in 590, we were in 690. So within a couple minutes, we've seen some cops out here. A couple went up there on the stairway there with their guns, the long guns. And then before we knew it, more cops, and then the employees are coming pounding on the door. But I was hesitant to open the door because hearing a gunshot and then somebody's pounding on your door immediately, you're right away thinking, you know, hey, could it be a person trying to, you know, come in with a gun and shoot you?
And that was Angie Castillo, who said this hit even closer to home because of the recent Uvalde, Texas shooting. She also said that police handled this situation very well. I talked to other witnesses, people that were in this area yesterday afternoon when this all unfolded, who say they knew that gentleman. He had been staying here. This is one of those buildings that is a mix of hotel rooms for visitors and then longer-term residents that have leases here. They say he was one of those people. He had been living here for a while, kept to himself, and was a very kind man. They say it's pretty unthinkable that he did something like this in a tragic way, again, no matter how you look at this.
We just went through the Uvalde children massacre, the school massacre in Uvalde, Texas, not too long ago. You know, so we don't know. I mean, there's so many people out here that need help, and apparently this gentleman needed help.
Reporting in Waikiki, I'm Casey Lund, Hawaii News Now.
A man is dead and another is under arrest after a fatal crash on Oahu's North Shore. Around 11 o'clock last night, police said a 19-year-old driver was heading west on Kamehameha Highway near Ashley Road in the Waimea area when he crossed the center line. He crashed into a vehicle being driven by a 65-year-old man. That man was killed, and his passenger, a 65-year-old woman, was taken to the hospital in serious condition. The 19-year-old was arrested for second-degree negligent homicide and first-degree negligent injury. Police say speed appears to be a factor. This marks Oahu's 50th traffic fatality of the year compared to 42 the same time last year.
Now to the latest on the Mauna Loa eruption. HVO scientists are growing increasingly certain the lava flow will not impact Daniel K. Inouye Highway. The flow feed has been cut off, but Fissure 3 remains active. And also new today, Jessica Farrakane of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park says a new temporary flight restriction has been put in place over the active vent and flow fields up to 1,500 feet. It will remain in effect until December 17th.
As the cleanup of a toxic spill continues at the Red Hill facility, Hawaii News Now has learned about releases of similar so-called forever chemicals at another location, Kalaeloa Airport. Our Mahealani Richardson has the story.
The Army report said releases of toxic firefighting foam, or AFFF, happened at random locations at the Kalaeloa Airport. It was stored in a hangar, and state firefighters would conduct monthly pump tests using 25 gallons. AFFF is used to fight fuel fires. It contains PFAS forever chemicals that are under increasing scrutiny by regulators, lawmakers, and activists.
They were simply doing what they had historically always done. Every month, they load up the fire trucks and they spray PFAS to make sure that they work in case there's a real emergency.
Activists say they're worried about state firefighters, construction workers, and others who may have been exposed to the toxic forever chemicals that have been linked to increased risk of cancer.
That they are working with some very, very dangerous materials that can have lifelong health effects.
Retired Army Colonel Ann Wright wants to know what other military, state, and commercial properties are using and storing the chemicals.
We have on this island a huge, huge amount of very, very dangerous products that are leaching at times into the ocean. We hope it's not leaching into our drinking water.
The Hawaii Firefighters Association says today state firefighters only use AFFF for emergencies and not training, while Honolulu firefighters don't use it at all.
Once it was found out that AFFF had, health concerns, cancer issues, we were very happy that the HFD, among other departments, pulled the AFFF off of the trucks and no longer expose our firefighters to AFFF.
Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
The former Minneapolis police officer who held down George Floyd's back as one of his colleagues kneeled on his neck has been sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. J. Alexander Kyung pleaded guilty in October to a state count of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. He is already serving a federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights, and the state and federal sentences will be served at the same time. Kyung appeared at his sentencing via a video feed from a federal prison in Ohio. Disturbing developments in the case of a 7-year-old girl who was kidnapped and killed in Texas. According to police, the FedEx driver accused in her murder has confessed to killing the little girl while delivering a package that turned out to be her Christmas present. Jared Hill has more on why the driver says he did it.
I'm not anywhere close to being ready to let my baby go.
An unimaginable moment for Madeline Gandy, standing next to a box that holds a Christmas toy for her daughter. It was delivered by the man authorities say confessed to killing the little girl, 7-year-old Athena.
The joy Athena gave her family and the joy she felt on Christmas is something we will never feel with her again.
31-year-old Tanner Lynn Horner, a FedEx driver, is accused of killing Athena after delivering a package to her dad's house outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area on November 30th. In a newly obtained arrest warrant, Horner told investigators he accidentally hit Athena with his delivery truck, then panicked and put her in his van. Horner says the girl wasn't badly hurt and even spoke with him. But Horner, afraid to tell the girl's father what had happened, first tried to break her neck. When that didn't work, he says he strangled her.
I was robbed of watching her grow up by a man that everyone was supposed to be able to trust, to do just one simple task: deliver a Christmas present and leave.
Now Gandy says the tragedy is putting her life on a new trajectory, pushing for stricter screening and hiring policies.
We're investigating not just what FedEx's responsibility might have been, but anyone else who was involved in the decisions that were made that led to this tragic loss.
FedEx, in a statement, said its thoughts are with Athena's family and promised to fully cooperate with the investigation. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Brittany Greiner is back on U.S. soil this morning after a nearly 10-month detention in Russia.
You fly back home to the U.S. To the U.S.
Okay. The WNBA star's plane landed in San Antonio, Texas, where she will undergo a medical evaluation and treatment. In her hometown of Houston, City Hall was lit in red, white, and blue to celebrate her homecoming. Greiner was released from Russia as a part of a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms dealer.
Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema says she's leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. She says she does not plan to caucus with Republicans, which means Democrats will keep their slim majority in the Senate. Sinema, along with West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin, are both considered moderates, and they have often been at odds with the Biden agenda. But the White House says it considers Sinema a key partner on many of its biggest pieces of legislation.
Let's take a live look now outside. This is New York City. Everyone's feeling a little festive there on the ice rink. How lovely of a sight is that?
I know, and it's dark there right now, too. It's only about 5, a little after 5 there in New York City, but lots of people getting into the holiday spirit as they skate around that ice rink. Let's check in with Guy Hoggy on what's the latest here at home. The winds, again, a big story on the weather front.
The winds are a little strong. They will remain strong through the weekend, but they'll back off slightly. Still, though, breezy conditions for the Honolulu Marathon. They'll be running about 15 to 30, 15 to 25 miles an hour. So that headwind going out towards Hawaii, that's going to be rough. And then we got a corner storm expected to form Wednesday, Thursday. That's why the winds are going to back down. And if you're wondering about the weather for the marathon, don't worry about it. Things should be good. There's a chance, though, for a few morning showers. If they come through, not a guarantee, but if those showers come through, they'll be moving through rather quickly, faster than the runners, because the winds will be running about 15 to 25 miles an hour. Temperatures running into the low 80s. So over the next 7 days, the weather will be changing, not so much until Wednesday. But from now until Tuesday, we still got breezy winds, especially windy today and tomorrow, backing off slightly for the marathon. And then that corner low storm, another one expected to form between Wednesday and Thursday, maybe even into Friday. That's when the winds will back off, and we'll likely see more showers about that time as well.
Before the cheers and fireworks, racers first have to go to the Marathon Expo to pick up their race packet. All participants need to be present to grab their kit, all while the Expo festivities get runners pumped up for Sunday morning.
Well, the thing that's nice about it is that they're just asking you to finish. You don't have to do time or anything like that, so everybody can be part of it. So that makes it kind of nice. And then also the people from all around the world that come in.
This is the 50th anniversary of the Honolulu Marathon, a race that attracts all walks of life from the States and the globe.
The landscape, the location, Hawaii is all about the food, love, culture, and then the challenge. So anything else?
No time limit.
Yes, yes.
It's a much-needed boost in the state's economy. Pre-pandemic, the marathon would bring in about $130 million in spending. Experts calling it a destination marathon.
It's been estimated that the Honolulu Marathon is the single largest sporting event economically for the state of Hawaii, and it might even be the largest event, bringing more people in than economically beneficial than any other event.
And besides the destination luring runners to Honolulu, they're looking forward to
just that at the end, you got to get the malasadas. That's the thing. That's the key.
That's going to be really nice. Sometimes after cross-country races, we get cookies, and it's awesome.
Gosh, I'm waiting for the food at the end. And then you feel accomplished.
Kyle Chinen, Hawaii News Now.
And for more now on our special Honolulu Marathon coverage, I want to bring in our Sunrise anchor, Grace Lee, to talk about it. Aloha, Grace. Thank you for being here today.
I'm excited to be here, Dylan, with you.
So let's talk about the coverage plans that Sunrise has. You guys are making a big deal out of this marathon. What can our viewers expect?
Well, look, Sunrise has been on the air for 15 years. We have never done a show like this where it's solely dedicated to a single sports event like the Honolulu Marathon. Billy and I will be anchoring in studio. Steve will be field anchoring from the finish line. Guy Hoggy, Mr. Iron Man and Honolulu Marathon man himself, he's going to be with the runners in a truck tracking their progress through the course. And then Casey's going to be bringing us coverage not only from the field, but telling us some stories about two runners who have run every single one of the 49 and now 50 marathons. Steve also has a story about another person this will be his 200th marathon running. So we got some great stories to tell, great coverage, the way that only Sunrise can bring it to you. So we're really excited about this, Dylan.
Yeah, in true Sunrise fashion, you guys go all out for special events like this. Now, I personally am not a runner. Are you a runner?
No, Dylan, I'm not a runner. I'm more of a yogi. But, I got to say, we have some of the best experts in the country. Tony Revis, he is a running analyst. He came up in the 1980s with ESPN. He knows everything there is about running. And then another man, David Monty, he's done, I think, 9 different Olympics with NBC. He's the kind of guy who knows track and field so well that he helps Bob Costas do analysis. These two men, I spent 1 hour with them and learned more about running and about marathons and about strategy than I had ever known before. So I'm telling you, Dylan, it's going to be really interesting, even for the novice people, even if you don't think you know or care about running. These men will make you understand and really care and want to know more about, I think, the Honolulu Marathon.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely looking forward to it. Our special coverage of the Honolulu Marathon starts at 7 a.m. and we will be streaming it both on air and on your H&N digital platforms. Grace, thank you so much for joining us here today on This Is Now.
Thanks, Dylan.
While thousands are getting a show on Mauna Loa, there's a new lava viewing experience in Iceland.
Yeah, and it reduces the risk and effort of seeing the flow. Tina Kraus has the story.
Volcanoes in the land of fire and ice are known to draw huge crowds, with spectators often hiking miles to get close to the lava. Now, this new tourist attraction in Iceland is giving lava lovers the excitement without any risk.
It's real lava, actual real live lava.
Eleanor and her family came all the way from Colorado to see the show.
And it's so hot that you have to wear these glasses when they pour it down the spout.
The ice is instantly be turned into steam. It's pushing up through the lava and forming these bubbles.
Furnaces remelt lava from one of Iceland's volcanoes that blew more than 100 years ago, sending red-hot molten lava down a chute and into a showroom.
You can probably get much closer to the lava in a situation like this, much more so than you could in a real eruption.
It was really beautiful. I can see why a lot of people would be drawn to it, or really attracted by it.
The spectacular sight was so exciting for Eleanor. She documented the unique adventure on social media.
You get all the sights and sounds and smells, but of course, because the lava that we're melting here has already erupted, any toxic gases and stuff have left.
Leaving only a sense of wonder for tourists who keep on coming. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Well, let's go to some good news now. But really first, Ashley, what do you think? Is that the same as seeing the real thing?
Not at all.
At least you can still get the essence of it.
Right,
I think
sure.
that's what it accomplishes.
Sure.
But let's shift gears into some good news. Oahu is getting into the holiday spirit. This weekend, Kapolei Hale is getting, well, it's all decked out already, but the City Light celebration there is happening tomorrow. Crews are preparing for the big night. A 45-foot tall pine tree will be lit during the ceremony, and the festivities will begin with a block party at 5 p.m., followed by a holiday parade. Again, this is over at Kapolei Hale. More details on your HNN website.
Yeah, check out this good news. This is really heartwarming. So deaf and hard of hearing Keiki got the chance to meet a Santa Claus who's just like them. Hawaii's only deaf and signing Santa was back at Pearl Center for the 30th year. Now, more than 100 kids got to share their Christmas lists with Santa using ASL, and Keiki flew in from schools from Maui, Kauai, and Molokai to the event for free, courtesy of Southwest Airlines.
It's very important that deaf and hard of hearing and deafblind children have a Santa who's just like them, who can communicate directly with them in American Sign Language, because we really feel that representation matters.
This is our first time being able to come to one of these events, and to be immersed into the ASL community is exciting for us, and it's a blessing to be here.
Now, the Deaf Santa event is the largest educational opportunity for deaf students statewide, and it serves as a holiday reunion for the deaf community.
That is so awesome.
I know, I love
All
that.
about inclusion.
Well, the mega popular musical Hamilton was debut at the Blaisdell Concert Hall, and the cast received a standing ovation at its opening night performance. If you don't know what it's about, it's described as the story of America then, told by America now, and follows founding father Alexander Hamilton with a score that blends hip-hop, jazz, R&B, and of course Broadway. The show will run through January 29th, and tickets are still available at Ticketmaster and the Blaisdell box office.
That
Do you
is
plan
so
to see
awesome.
it?
I unfortunately don't have time this holiday season.
Yeah, I'm
but
going at the
hopefully
very
soon.
end.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Now. I'm Dylan Encheta alongside our Ashley Nagaoka. She's back first at 4 on KHNL.